Hi angels and whoever else has stumbled upon this video. I hope you've been having an incredible Brat release week. I've really seen some incredible shows of fandom and conversations about this future classic pop album, and I wanted to contribute myself. But I'm not getting a tattoo, so I wanted to share 5 books that I think that you will love based on the themes and ideas of Charli XCX's Brat album. The first book is a no-brainer for me, and that's Dennis Cooper's The Sluts. Dennis Cooper is absolutely a literary 365 party girl, and The Sluts exemplifies that. It takes place on an online forum for escorts, and the forum gets wrapped up into this mystery of this beautiful young man who is supposedly the most beautiful young escort there is, who it seems wants violent things to happen to him, that he wants his body to be destroyed by the people who hire him as an escort. And it's this world of celebrity and darkness, a lot of violence, very dark. So if you're interested in the way that the violence of Crash and those themes leads into the post-ironic internet celebrity of Brat, this one's for you. But if you find yourself listening to Mean Girls and commiserating on the way that we have this like shared girlhood and empathy in maybe less than admirable places, I'm gonna recommend you Waif by Samantha Kolesnik, which follows Angela, who has a beautiful, posh, kept life. And she's satisfied with just the status quo until she sees this strange man at the grocery store and her sexuality blooms from there. And this event leads her to fall into this crowd of extreme plastic surgery, dark pornography, and this queer girl gang or queer gang called the Waifs. And so I think, if you understand that, shared experience as its own important thing, like Waif is for you, and also it's an extreme horror novella, so whenever it does get dark, that's where some of the best female friendships are born. This book also gives some of that 360 365 vibe of waffling between multiple ideas of the self. On the less gruesome side, on the softer side, Charli also explores in Brat the more soft and vulnerable parts of herself, especially on songs like I Think About It All the Time, where she contemplates becoming a mother and what that would do to her identity. Songs like Rewind, where she thinks back about times before the fame and before the pressures of being a 365 party girl. And if that speaks to you, you might enjoy reading Writers and Lovers by Lily King, which follows Casey, who is a former child golf prodigy. And after her mother's death, she moves to Boston and starts working as a waitress, but she's really working during the day as a waitress so that she can be a writer. That's what she spends her evenings doing. She joins a writer's group, which is where she meets multiple men. She falls for 2 very, very different men. And it's that idea of, what is my life supposed to be? And that there's something about each of these men that seems to make sense, and it's the easy life versus the more passionate life, the more intellectual life versus the more visceral carnal life. So that part of like waffling between selves, I think, this is very Brat-like in that. But it captures something intimate about that tension between the selves. And at the end of the day, it's not so much about the details of what those like opposites are that attract us, but really about the internal monologue and the understanding of self, which is what you get from Brat and what you get from this, that it's not about the men, it's about Casey, our main character. Brat has some really heartfelt moments too, like So I, which is dedicated to the late Sophie. So I wanted to bring in something that was futuristic, emotional, beautiful. The Membranes by Ta-Wei is a Taiwanese queer sci-fi classic set in the late 21st century after humanity has moved into domes under the ocean to escape climate change related disaster on the Earth's surface. Our main character Momo is a celebrity of T-City as a dermal care technician so she takes care of the skin of the elite, and she's very detail oriented, and everyone really longs to see her. Absolutely a celebrity, but her life begins to change after meeting her estranged mother, and she begins to explore her true identity and the limits of reality and memory, and these big sci-fi questions, but very beautiful and very like hyper pop vibes, PC music vibes, if you're interested in gender and reality and the self as in the future. Yep, this has not been read enough, and you will not regret reading this book. Before we get to the last book, I want to have some honorable mentions for the Unbreakable Girl Gang, The Bunnies, from the book Bunny by Mona Awad. This feels like the like the 360 video, and that just like all of the characters as being a necessary part of your individual self, that you reflect yourself out. Also, the Girl So Confusing, Sympathy is a Knife, Complicated Female Friendships vibes. You have to read West Girls by Laura Elizabeth Woollett, which is a Australian book set in Western Australia and has a cast of very complicated female characters who relate to each other in very complicated ways. The book that beyond any other exemplifies the duality of the online 360 self with the offline vulnerability is No One Is Talking About This by Patricia Lockwood. This book could not exist without the internet, just like Brat really could not exist without the internet. This book takes place on the portal, which is basically Twitter, and a lot of the book is written in the style of tweets, and it's half that and then half this like more offline vulnerability things going on behind the scenes. Our main character has gone viral. This book is written for virality, just like Brat is really designed for virality if you're following the marketing at all, which how could you not? And it's that contrast between being so viral and so in everyone's eyes, and also being online and having strangers' ideas in your head all day, mixed with going offline and the like crushing loneliness of no one being there, of the silence, that off and on. This book is intensely readable as well, so crushable. It's the literary fiction Brat, and it has the substance with your pop, but it doesn't deny that just great pop by itself is an achievement and admirable. I hope you enjoy these books. I hope you enjoy Brat, and I will talk to y'all again soon. Bye-bye.